Now, as I said, I'm delighted to welcome our panelists this afternoon, and I will start with Natalie Slessor at Lendlease. Obviously, do a lot of research and have a lot of customers out there in the office sector. Just give us a sense of the kind of work that you're doing and what you're seeing out there in relation to the long-term impacts of more flexible working.
Yeah, thanks, Adam, and thanks everyone for having me and dialing in today. I thought, 2 years ago, you're an expert in workplace, or so they say, and that's it. My life was over. I was going to mic drop out of there. We're all working at home, right? But the opposite's been true, and the workplace conversation is 100% alive. I think I've ever been busier. We are talking to our customers regularly. At the moment, we're in quite a deep discussion with our customers, surveys and interviews and so forth, to really work out what people have missed and what they need going forward. Now we're in the long game as landlords and property management of our portfolio of nearly 1 million square meters. So it's been a fantastic opportunity for us to sort of reset how we think about customer and customer service. And I really think, and I've said this, if anyone's heard me speak for the last few months, we're really trying to turn our mind to earn the commute. I think a lot of people have lost their muscle memory in terms of going to the office. And not only has it been working quite well to work from home to a certain extent, but actually, like, that muscle memory, as I said, has gone to a certain extent. So it's like, how do we continue now to think about commuting? And we really need to earn that commute. It's harder than it used to be. It's not just turning the old patterns back on. It's resetting all of the patterns, the childcare, the dog walks, your exercise, or whatever you might be doing in your life. To earn the commute, what do we mean by that? We mean about creating experiences that are really good. It's just not another desk. It's something else. And that something else might be quite a different relationship in the future to just the office accommodation we may have thought about in the past. So we're thinking about how do we create more flexible spaces, amenities that people really want, learning and many things like that. It's a whole new skill base, if you like, for a landlord. And I think that's going to challenge our sector quite a lot, but it's an exciting time.
It's an exciting time, and obviously something that you specialize in is psychology. I mean, what is the approach to the role of work from a psychological point of view, and therefore the space that work, is? How do you research that? Where do you look to understand that particular topic a little deeper?
Well, we look forward, but we also look back. We did a really interesting piece of research, actually, more of a scrape. If you're a bit of a social sciences nerd like I am, the Social Sciences Research Network is unbelievable resource. It's online. Everyone could look that up, ssrn.net, I think it is. But nonetheless, we look back into that and many other academic studies around what do past crises teach us about human behavior and reverting to pattern or to type. And we learned a couple of things. We learned a lot, actually, which was fascinating. So we looked at World War I and World War II and other, there's only been one or two other pandemics, but even 9/11 and the impact on New York and New York City and how that worked. And we found that a couple of things are very interesting. One of which I will bring up is that we mustn't underestimate the long tail of mental stress in the community. So we can all feel it a little bit viscerally now, whether you're stressed because you just want to get out of the house or not, and so forth. But this is a long tail of well-being that I think we all need to acknowledge as employers, as team leaders ourselves, as people in the community, of course. And the role of place and space and our assets in that is to create connective experiences, rewarding communities, feel part of belonging to something bigger can be a really interesting contributor to people's sense of well-being and their sense of purpose in society. So it sounds a bit deep and philosophical, actually. We will definitely talk more tactically about workplace, I'm certain, but we have been looking back as well as trying to look forward.
Now, Natalie, from your point of view, in terms of the Lendlease portfolio of both development and existing, assets and properties, can you give us some examples of how some of your thinking is evolving and being applied on some specific projects?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So I don't want to give away all the crown jewels, but I don't think it would be a surprise to anybody, given the topic of this conversation, that we're thinking about flexibility a lot. It's what customers really, really want. We've got a couple of flavors of flexibility, not only dealing with flexible spaces, suites and hosted environments, which you can literally flex your workforce into, project teams, bid teams, hot desking. There's a whole variety in there to get involved in flex and in hosting our customers, and very much thinking of our customers as members, not necessarily tenants. It's a real mindset shift, which the co-working and flexible space market has we've got to soak that up. We've got to learn from them, because they didn't get everything right, and some of the big players didn't get everything right in that space, but they got a lot right about how they look after themselves, and so we're absorbing that. So watch this space on that one. But also, and again, you may have heard those who are on the call that I might know have heard me talk about the local office, which is also a way of being flexible, but not necessarily always in the CBD. So we think the other thing that's really thrived through this time has been community. And community, about my local coffee shop's pretty busy, and it's quite nice to see the same people on the streets. And it's actually quite nice to get out of the house, but not necessarily have to go to the city. So we are going to trial. And again, I love Claudette's language around trials and experiments. We'd love to do some pilots. And we will be in the new year around a wide network of local offices. If you're a Lendlease customer, Lendlease tenant, an occupier, you can come in and work in one of your local co-working centres in your community. So not quite at home, but not quite at the office either, but still in your community. We think if you fly Lendlease, you should have access to these kinds of perks. It's part of bringing together the next generation of talent, those who get that kind of mixture of wanting to work in a startup kind of cool co-working place, and also for a big business to get that security of financial security, as well as security of career. So I think that's going to be a really, really interesting experiment to do. And it's a different flavor, I suppose, of flexibility. But I think we've got to have all the flavors. You can't just sort of pick one, but we'll be very interested to see how that works.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up question on that local office. I mean, what is it at the moment in terms of the thinking of it that you'll pilot? Is it several coffee shops populated around sort of suburban train stations? Is it like where is it? What is it? And what does it look like in the first instance?
It's like a one world alliance, if you like.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going with my airline analogy, not try to overstretch it, but we are going to partner with people who are co-working businesses in the suburbs who are already successfully operating. Because like I said earlier, the hospitality and treating tenants like members is a new muscle for the property sector. I know that sounds a bit crazy to say, but I think it's true. And I think there's a lot of people out there, again, we can learn from. And also they have a fantastic network set up. So we've partnered with Watso in Sydney and Creative Cubes Co down in Melbourne. It gives us an instant network of upwards of 20 sites around Australia where we can say, exclusive deals for our customers to go online, click, and then you can work locally near to you, but just away from the dog that constantly stares at me or my laundry or what have you, or those who don't have a study at home and a place to work that's enclosed and so forth. So we think it's going to be an advantage. We are seeking to prove that though. So here I am, I'm putting a theory out there, and I'm hoping next time we speak, I can give you some stats around it. But the early signs are, and interactions with our customers have been really positive as a good option.